Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I am the owner's daughter, and if you like the conversations we have here, please feel free to like and share, and definitely leave a comment. I'd like to know how you feel about it, okay? So, I wanted to talk a little bit about television programming. We'd realize that it is a program, and it is a program that is designed to socially engineer us into certain conditions, certain behaviors, um, and it is also a group of spells. You know, that's what words do. Words and visuals, they definitely creates a consciousness, and we are constantly absorbing this stuff. And television is like any other kind of food, just like, the company that you keep, the music that you listen to, it's all food. So what are we feeding ourselves here in America? So much violence, so much programming centered around crimes, corruption of the worst kind. Um, and it got me to thinking about, the kind of shows that I watched as a kid, and things like, the Brady Bunch. I grew up on the Brady Bunch and the Partridge Family, and I Dream of Jeannie and Happy Days, Beverly Hillbillies, and Andy Griffith. Not a black element in the picture at all, but at least those were wholesome shows. They were about family. They were about life lessons, and it was just so much more wholesome. And then we eventually got shows like Good Times and The Jeffersons. Good Times was designed to make you feel comfortable in the ghetto, and The Jeffersons was to help you make you feel good about, oh, we're moving on up. Yes, we're moving on up. And because it's all in black space, black skin, it made you feel like, oh wow, we're there. We're not really there, but it's all good. So yeah, when I look back on the kinds of programming that existed during that time versus what we're living in now, I just would have to say that, American TV is a national tragedy for our society. And it's like a endless loop. Art imitates life and life imitates art. And what we're continuing to absorb into our consciousness, what goes in you has to come out of you at some point in some form of fashion. And this is what we're looking at in our society. So much violence. Um, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And so this mental food that we're absorbing is having a lot of adverse effects on us as a people, on us as a society, as human beings. We have become so desensitized to death, and death by violence is what I mean. We're desensitized. We're so easy to pull out a gun and just shoot somebody, or whip out a knife and stab somebody, or bust up our fists and beat somebody down, because that's what we're seeing on TV all day long. That's what we're seeing in music videos a lot of times. That's just what we're seeing all over the place. And it's making folks who are weak-minded not value human life. And it makes other ones of us who are very impressionable very afraid to go out and really explore life, to not trust people, because we see all this stuff on television and it's like, I don't trust people. I can't go nowhere. I got to do this. I got to do all that. And we do have to do all those things because the world is a very unsafe place right now for humanity. And this television thing that's going on is one of the biggest culprits as to why that exists that way. And what I also notice is that how, in most of the lower income households, people who don't have things like cable, they can't necessarily afford some of the movie platforms like Amazon and Prime and Netflix and all these things, because it's that element exists where people just live on such a level that they can only afford regular television, and it is so, ooh, it's so much. Some of the shows that I've been checking out, that I've been watching and observing, because I love observing human nature. They have names like Killer Couples, Accomplice to Murder, Buried in the Backyard, Killer Cases, Legendary Trials, where they regurgitate old court cases over and over and over again, and a lot of these shows are just showing the same old scenarios in a different format. And I'm like, why? Why is it that, they're just regurgitating these conditions over and over and over? It's like they're beating you over the head with the violence. Rampage Killer, Fatal Attraction, and For My Man. Oh, those are the black versions of it all. And I'm sure it's a whole lot others. Shows like Cheaters. Oh my God, it's just so horrible. And then there's a whole entourage of law enforcement shows that, like, just how do you say, big up and celebrate, everything from being a SWAT person, firemen, which I love firemen though, I really do. And police, and when we're looking at the kind of condition that we're experiencing as people of color here in America, and they got all these shows that glorify law enforcement as if they're so wonderful and they're about the right thing, and they're, and it's just, and the reality is that it's so much corruption. It's so much corruption that it's just, wow. It blows my mind. And then they got a whole slew of podcasts. Coffee House Crimes. I love this gentleman. He's got this really awesome accent, and he's always selling his coffee while he's telling you all about all these exotic criminal situations. And at the end, he's always said, if you like this content, please XYZ, all the YouTube stuff, like my channel, hit the bell for notification if you like my channel. And I'm thinking to myself, what is there to like about seeing all these horrible conditions, all of these sad cases where, women are killing their babies, or husbands are murdering their wives because they don't want to pay for divorce, these young people that are out here doing thrill kills and mass shootings. What is to like about that? I mean, it's devastating. And I remember when I very first came in contact with some of this stuff, which was a couple of years back, Fatal Attraction and For My Man. I just, I don't do regular TV, so I'm on YouTube. And this stuff was just coming through my feed. And I'm like, okay, well, what is this? And at first, I was just devastated watching it. I'm like, oh, my God, we're doing this? This is what we're doing? Because I live in a whole nother reality, in all honesty. I just do. And so, and then, I don't know if I mentioned the reality shows. Yeah, that's a whole nother level of ratchet energy, all in blackface. And these are supposed to be wealthy, successful business people, athletes, and things like that. And we're out here looking all gorgeous and cussing like a sailor and ripping each other apart, fighting, street fighting, and cussing and carrying on. I'm like, wow, man, it's just too much for me. It is way, 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 way too much. And the wild part about it as well is that the system wants everybody on the internet. They want everybody on this TV programming because it's preparing your mind for the wildness that's going on in our reality. Oh, and let's not forget all the horror movies. Even if you do have like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and all those things, they are chock full of horror films back to back all over the place. And it blows my mind that people sit and immerse themselves in these kinds of situations. And again, What goes into you has to come out in some form of fashion. And then we wonder why we have so much crime, why we have so much violence, why we have so much regurgitation of these kinds of things in our society. And so, what I've learned from watching some of these things, from observing some of this stuff, is that a lot of different things are happening all at once. Again, it's setting us up to fall into these traps of violence. It's setting us up. A lot of these shows, especially these crime shows, the one positive thing about the crime shows is that they do teach you certain aspects of the law. But what they also do is they teach the criminal element that exists in our society how to be even more successful criminals. That's what it does. And that's really sad to me. But it also makes me understand that that's one of the things that helps to keep the system flowing the way it wants to flow, so that it can stay in control of you, so it can continue to lock you up, so it can continue to harangue you, pull you over, beat you down. Police officers are afraid. They're the ones walking around with all the guns, but they're afraid of everybody. That's their excuse for finally shooting you in the back as you're running away, because they were afraid. It's so crazy. It's so exhausting. It really is. But what I also see in it is that it's a part of the karma of this country. This country was built on slavery, oppression, violence towards indigenous people. And what's happening in a lot of these shows, if you really pay attention, especially with these real life cases, is that certain segments of our community is catching a whole bunch of heavy karma, and the Black community is catching a whole lot of confusion. And we're catching the confusion because, first of all, we shouldn't even be tapped into these types of things. If we were focused on our community and our success and our children, our youth, and our future, and our business, and our own economy, we wouldn't have any of these issues to deal with. But because we want to be on television and we want to be doing what other people do that don't have nothing to do with our highest good, then we get caught up in the nets of this dysfunctional condition. What I also see is that American television is definitely a testament to American culture. It just is what it is. This is a very violent culture. It's very disrespectful to women, very abusive to children, very oppressive to people of color and the indigenous people of this land. And I feel like they tell their story through these different forms of media, movies, film, television, and all of these recurring shows that just regurgitate all this violence all over and over again. And that's really sad to me to a great degree. But the silver lining in it, I sense, is the fact that we are in a spiritual time when everything is being made so crystal clear. Everything is coming to light. All things that have been done in the dark are being exposed. And so those of us who live in the light, those of us who are trying to do positive things, those of us who are working to help uplift humanity and not downpress humanity or destroy and all these types of things, we are seeing what's going on, and we're observing ways and means to not get caught up in the crossfire. People who are hung up in their egos, hung up in materialism, hung up in doing whatever they can or whatever they're willing to do for money, they're getting caught up in the snares of all of this stuff. And the news is always the bad news. Always. It might be one or two things that they talk about on the news that's something halfway positive, or some information that's basically neutral, that's just informative, that we actually need to know. But the rest of that trash is just pure negative bad news. and that's why I don't watch it. So I wanted to share a little bit about what I think are some of the solutions to some of this stuff for us as on an individual level. Of course, collectively, I just think the society as a whole is just, it is what it is, and it's going to possibly get a bit worse before it gets better. People love them movies, The Hunger Games. Yeah, when all of a sudden it's a real Hunger Game going on, yeah, we're going to see if you're going to do like old girl did in the movie. And I doubt that most people will be able to survive a lot of that stuff. But it's what y'all want, because you feed into it, you buy into it, you love your horror movies, and you're just drawing horror to you by indulging in all these things. These things work on our psyche, and they make us make bad decisions. They make us make fear-based decisions. And so when we don't exercise wisdom, we find ourselves falling into the traps of stuff. So some of the things what I'm doing, what I'm working on, and what I would suggest to anybody else is that we have to utilize this era of reset that we're in, this era of purge that we're in. Purge your own negativities, first of all. Reset your own reality. Create positive content. Create something that brings value to the lives of others, something that other people can appreciate in the highest sense, and not something that's just shocking them or salacious and, gossipy and trash energy that, people do that too. You can do that if you want to do it, honey bun, but, it's consequences to everything. There's cause and then there's an effect for everything that we cause to happen. So it's up to you. So if I was an actor, certain roles I would never play. And I do know a nice little handful of people who are actors and successful actors at that. And I would suggest that we choose positive roles. If you're an actress or an actor and that's really what your passion is, use that to create some positive change. If you're a writer, write some scripts, write some plays, but do it in a fashion that brings some enlightenment or some empowerment to the people who are going to observe it. Bring something that has a positive message. Bring something that uplifts your people, your community, that empowers them. And just get away from television programming altogether, in all honesty. And even when I had Netflix and Hulu and all of that stuff, most of those films, most of that stuff is just so tragic. So tragic. Even the interesting stuff is so tragic. And so, yeah, I just say step away from that. Create your own media. There are different platforms that allow you to come in and create your own stuff, just like YouTube, but not as wild as YouTube can be. Like Gaia and Roku, and so many more that's out there. Quelly TV is another one. That's a Black-owned platform where you can put your films on, your videos on, uplift. It's time, because those of us who are choosing to stay in the light and just be the fly on the wall, witnessing the dramas of what's going on earth, we are going to be protected solely by our own good karma. If you're out here, doing whatever to make a dollar, playing any role, because the role that you play, you take responsibility on how it affects the people who watch that. And notice, for us, we only get the awards when we play low down dirty roles. Like when Denzel played the corrupt cop, when Monique played the horrible, horrible mother. I've never even watched that movie, Precious. Just the whole concept of it breaks my heart. I couldn't bring myself to watch it. But she got an Oscar for that role, yeah, because of the image of a horrible black woman that is now put out into the universe, the whole world and the whole galaxy to see. And then Halle Berry, you know, she got an Oscar for that film Monsters Balls. You know, I don't even want to get into the details of all that. Y'all know, y'all know. So we know that we're not loved by this atmosphere that we're in, even though they love everything about us. They want everything we got. They want your gifts, your talents, your energy, your swag. They want your hairstyles. They want your complexion. They want to lay in the sun and look like us. Only thing they don't want is they don't want the treatment that they give us. So, but it's all good because everything is coming to a head, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's a wonderful time to be on the planet. And it's a wonderful time to really step into your power, step into your purpose, step into who you were really sent here to be, and to do it boldly. Yes, that's one thing I do love about what's going on in all the arenas, you know, even the negative stuff. People are boldly being whatever it is that they are. And when you are a good thing, you need to boldly be it as well. Yes, you do. Yeah, that's all them firecrackers out there celebrating all the lack of freedom. Anyways, so I'm not gonna go on too much longer, but y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying. We gotta do something more positive. Oh, last thing before I go, I understand that Tyler Perry is supposedly buying BET and VH1, and he's doing all this stuff. I would like us to go on a letter writing campaign to Tyler Perry Studios and let him know that we need some positive images. I'm tired of his films with all his mommy issues all up in it. I'm tired of the negative black woman images that he's portraying and projecting. I'm really tired of it. I used to love Tyler Perry when he first came out. I really, really did. And then it got to the point where it's like, okay, you're not evolving. You're not growing up out of this thing that you do. And this thing that you do, even though it's successful for you, and it's successful maybe for a handful of actors that you employ, that you don't want to be unionized, though, because you don't want to pay them union rates, and you don't want to pay that extra stuff that you know it requires. You know, you want to take advantage of their talent and their skills, but you don't want to pay the full price of it all. I get that. But the bottom line is we need positive images right now. We need, we really, really need that. And as a melanin dominant person, if you ain't doing nothing positive, I don't even want to be in the same room with you. Ain't no telling what kind of thunder's going to come down crashing on your head. If you're not doing positive things right now, and the reason why is because we are the eldest child of creation. We are the eldest child of creation. Until we get it together, ain't nothing going to be right on this planet. So, and that leads me to my next video, which is going to be dealing with, what is it? The state of the black family and black male-female relationships. Yes, get with me, y'all. Leave me a comment, like my video, please share. Alrighty, I love y'all. Y'all be peace. Talk to you later. I am the owner's daughter.